Hey you! Welcome to Lore Galore, where we cover the best shows and worlds. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and let's get right into the latest video. Today we are talking about Queen Rhaenys Targaryen. Queen Rhaenys Targaryen was the youngest sister of King Aegon Targaryen, the first Lord of the Seven Kingdoms. Both she and her older sister Visenya were married to Aegon, and it was said that she was Aegon's favorite. Through her son with Aegon, Rhaenys I, the line of the Dragon Kings continued, with 15 of the 16 Targaryen kings being direct descendants of Rhaenys and Aegon. She was a dragon rider who rode the dragon Meraxes. Rhaenys was a beautiful woman with silver gold hair, which she kept long, and wore loose, purple eyes and a slender body. Rhaenys was kind-hearted, graceful, playful, curious, impulsive, and given to flights of fancy with a mischievous aspect to her personality. She loved music, dancing, and poetry. She loved flying even more, though. It was said that she spent more time flying on her dragon Meraxes than her siblings did combined. Her early life, Rhaenys was born on the island Dragonstone to Aegon Targaryen, Lord of Dragonstone, and his wife, Lady Valyna Velaryon. She had two older siblings, Visenya and Aegon, although according to Valyrian marriage customs, Aegon was expected to marry his eldest sister, Visenya. He took both his sisters to wife. People claim that Aegon wed Visenya out of duty and Rhaenys out of desire. Prior to her wedding, Rhaenys became a dragon rider, having bonded with the dragon Meraxes. During Aegon's conquest, Rhaenys sailed with her siblings from Dragonstone, while Aegon began construction of the Aegon Fort. Rhaenys flew on Meraxes to Rosby, which yielded peacefully. After having conquered a dozen houses, Aegon was crowned king. Rhaenys, now queen, hailed him as Aegon, first of his name, king of all Westeros, and shield of his people, after Visenya placed a Valyrian steel circlet on Aegon's head. Within days of his coronation, the Targaryen armies were sent out again. Rhaenys, upon Meraxes, accompanied Orys Baratheon and the greater part of the Targaryen host on their way to Storm's End in the Stormlands. As they were crossing the Wendwater, the Targaryen host came under attack by the forces of Lords Errol, Fell, and Buckler. More than 1,000 men were cut down before the attackers faded back into the trees. Rhaenys answered by unleashing Meraxes upon them. As a wall of dragon flames swept through the woods, the trees turned into torches. Lord Errol died, but Lords Fell and Buckler survived to send word to Storm's End. Argilac Durrandon, the Storm King, having heard of the death of Harrenhal, King of the Isles and the Rivers, and the burning of Harrenhal, decided to march from Storm's End to meet the Targaryen host on the field, refusing to burn in his castle as Harren had. Rhaenys, on Meraxes, witnessed how he departed from Storm's End and returned to the Targaryen host with a report on Argilac's numbers and dispositions. A fierce storm began at the start of the battle, which became known as the Last Storm. The Durrandon host charged thrice during the battle. The third time, they were able to break through the Baratheon center, but next found themselves face to face with Rhaenys and Meraxes. The knights of Argilac's personal guard and Dickon Morgan and the bastard of Blackhaven, commanding the vanguard, were engulfed in dragon flame. The war horses fled in terror, chaos ensued, and Orys slew Argilac in single combat. With the Storm King now dead, Rhaenys accompanied the host to Storm's End and flew upon Meraxes into the castle to parley with Argilac's daughter and heir, Argilla Durrandon. Although Argilla refused to surrender the castle, the garrison eventually yielded both Argilla and Storm's End to Orys. In 4 AC, Aegon I began the First Dornish War. Rhaenys led the first assault on Dorne, seizing castles and burning the Planky town while approaching Sunspear. However, the Dornish lords once refused to give open battle and abandoned their seats. When Rhaenys and Aegon eventually reached Sunspear, Maria Martell, Princess of Dorne, as well as most others, had fled. Rhaenys and Aegon gathered the few courtiers and functionaries who had remained behind, and declaring themselves victorious, proclaimed that Dorne fell under the rule of the Iron Throne. Rhaenys and Aegon returned to King's Landing, leaving Lord Jon Rosby at Sunspear's castle, and while giving Lord Harlan Tyrell the charge of a host to fight the last revolts. However, they had barely reached the capital when the Dornish revolted, leading to the deaths of Jon, killed by Maria at Sunspear, and Harlan, who vanished with his army while marching to Sunspear to retake the castle in 5 AC. Entire garrisons were put to the sword, and the knights in charge were slowly tortured to death. The next few years of the war became more and more violent. The Targaryens returned to Dorne to unleash their dragons, and the Dornish responded with fire of their own. In 10 AC at Hellholt, a bolt from a scorpion pierced Meraxes through the eye. The dragon fell from the sky with Rhaenys on its back, destroying half the castle. It is not certain whether Rhaenys outlived Meraxes. There are those who say that Rhaenys lost her seat and fell to her death, while others claim that Rhaenys was crushed to death beneath Meraxes in the castle yard. A few accounts claim that Rhaenys survived the fall and died a slow death, being tortured by the elders. Due to uncertainty about her death, history records that she died in 10 AC at Hellholt in Dorne. Her body was never returned to King's Landing. Rhaenys left behind a legacy and a son, Aenys, who was 3 years old when she died. Always weak and sickly, the death of his mother shattered the boy, and there were doubts as to whether he would live. He even went back to crawling around as if he were a baby. However, when Aenys was given the hatchling dragon Quicksilver, his condition quickly improved, and as the dragon grew, so did Aenys. Additionally, bonding with the dragon ended the rumors that he had not been fathered by Aegon. The 2 years that followed Rhaenys' death were later dubbed the years of the dragon's wrath. Grief-stricken at the death of his sister, Aegon and Visenya set every castle, keep, and holdfast in Dorne ablaze at least once, with the exception of Sunspear and its Shadow City, and placed bounties on the heads of the Dornish lords. The war would last until 13 AC. Although a grand sept had already been constructed on Visenya's Hill and King's Landing, the Sept of Remembrance was later built on the Hill of Rhaenys as a memorial to the Queen. Alyssa Farman gave the names Aegon, Rhaenys, and Visenya to islands she found in the Sunset Sea. And finally, Queen Rhaenys was a Valyrian ship named after either Aegon's sister Queen Rhaenys or Princess Rhaenys Targaryen, the so-called queen who never was. Thank you for watching Lore Galore. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. I make videos on House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, The Last Kingdom, all the best worlds, all the best shows. If you're interested in any of that, if you're interested in updates, commentary, anything like that, theories, lore, all the best things on the best worlds and shows, hit that subscribe button. It means a lot to me. And thank you for watching. Have a great day.